Napoleon Bonaparte, the rise and fall of an emperor. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Learn English Through Story. Today, we will explore the fascinating life of Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who changed the course of history. He was a military genius, a revolutionary leader, and one of the most ambitious rulers the world has ever seen. But how did he rise to power? And what led to his downfall? Let's dive into the incredible story of Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769, on the island of Corsica, which had just become a part of France. His family was of Italian descent and belonged to the lower nobility. Even though they were not very wealthy, they had high ambitions for their children. As a child, Napoleon was intelligent, determined, and disciplined. He loved reading about history and war. His father managed to get him into a prestigious military school in France, where he trained to become an officer. However, Napoleon faced many challenges. He had a strong Corsican accent, which made him different from his classmates, and he was often teased. But instead of giving up, he focused on his studies, especially in mathematics, geography, and military strategy. At the age of 16, Napoleon graduated and became an officer in the French army. But at this time, France was going through a revolution. The monarchy was collapsing, and the country was in chaos. Napoleon saw this as an opportunity to prove himself. Napoleon's personality was shaped by his upbringing. He was ambitious and had an unshakable belief in his destiny. He read books by great military leaders such as Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great, which inspired him. He learned that a strong leader must be decisive and bold, qualities that would define his future. Napoleon's first real chance to show his leadership skills came in 1793, during the siege of Toulon. The city of Toulon was controlled by the British, and France needed a strong leader to take it back. Napoleon developed a brilliant plan, and thanks to his strategy, the French army won the battle. This victory made him a hero, and he was promoted to brigadier general at just 24 years old. A few years later, in 1796, he was given command of the French army in Italy. His army was weak, under-equipped, and demoralized, but Napoleon inspired his soldiers, leading them to a series of incredible victories against the Austrian Empire. His tactics were revolutionary. He used speed, deception, and surprise attacks to defeat much larger enemy forces. Napoleon's success in Italy earned him fame and admiration back home. He became a symbol of French military excellence. His soldiers adored him because he fought alongside them, shared their hardships, and rewarded their bravery. By the time Napoleon returned to France, he was already a national hero. However, the country was still unstable, and the government was weak. In 1799, Napoleon staged a coup d'etat and took control of the government. At just 30 years old, he became the first consul of France, the most powerful man in the country. Napoleon's political brilliance was as impressive as his military skills. He knew how to win the trust of the people. He introduced economic reforms, built new roads, and improved education. These changes made him popular among the French people, who saw him as a strong leader who could restore France's glory. Napoleon was not satisfied with just being the first consul. In 1704, he took a bold step. He crowned himself Emperor of France in a grand ceremony at Notre Dame Cathedral. This was a powerful message. Napoleon did not accept authority from anyone, not even the Pope. As emperor, Napoleon transformed France. He reformed the legal system, creating the Napoleonic Code, which introduced modern laws that are still used in many countries today. He also improved education, built roads, and stabilized the economy. But Napoleon's greatest passion was war. He wanted to expand France's power across Europe. Between 1805 and 1810, he led his army to many victories, defeating Austria, Prussia, and Russia. His most famous battle was the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, where he destroyed a much larger force using brilliant tactics. By 1810, Napoleon controlled most of Europe. He had become the most powerful man in the world, but his ambition would soon lead to his downfall. Napoleon's greatest mistake was his decision to invade Russia in 1812. He gathered a massive army of 600,000 soldiers, known as the Grande Armée, and marched toward Moscow. But the Russians refused to fight a direct battle. Instead, they burned their own cities and food supplies, forcing Napoleon's army to go deeper into Russia with little food or shelter. By the time Napoleon reached Moscow, the city was abandoned and set on fire. With winter approaching and no supplies, he had no choice but to retreat. The Russian winter was brutal. Thousands of his soldiers froze to death. When he finally returned to France, only 100,000 men remained. This disaster weakened Napoleon, and his enemies saw an opportunity to defeat him. In 1814, the armies of Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia invaded France. Napoleon was forced to surrender and was sent into exile on the small island of Elba. Napoleon was not ready to give up. In 1815, he escaped from Elba and returned to France. He was greeted as a hero, and within weeks he had gathered an army again. This period is known as the 100 Days. However, Napoleon's enemies united once again. In June 1815, he faced the British and Prussian armies at the Battle of Waterloo. It was a fierce battle, but Napoleon was finally defeated. This time, there was no escape. Napoleon was sent far away to the remote island of St. Helena, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. There, he lived in isolation until his death in 1821. The Napoleonic Code shaped modern legal systems. His military strategies are still studied today. And his incredible rise from a small island boy to the Emperor of France continues to inspire people around the world. Napoleon was a complex figure. Was he a genius or a tyrant? A hero or a conqueror? That is for history to decide. What do you think about Napoleon? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Learn English Through Story videos. See you next time.